Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome to another Assassin's Creed Shadows build video. Today we're going to go with the full assassination damage build, and this is something that I've been wanting to put together since I first started playing the game, and I started seeing what kind of engravings there were for something like this. And unfortunately, this is going to be an endgame type of build because some of these items are not available until you finish the game, basically. So if you're looking at putting this together, then just be mindful that it's going to take a while and you're not going to get the final piece of the puzzle until after you beat the game. So the good news is that you can still make this work by getting all the other pieces together, and it's still going to be pretty strong assassination damage. You just get another additional boost. That's pretty good, but you could argue that it's a little bit overkill because the majority of the enemies that you're going to come across don't really require that much assassination damage. However, you know, in case you do want to test and see the limits of assassination damage, aka health segment damage, then you can stay with me. But I want to say something about this specific type of build before, you know, because this is YouTube and someone's bound to say something in comments. So before anyone tries to trash talk this build, let me do it for you. So there's a caveat to this build, and that's that a build of this type is basically rendered, you could say, obsolete with the inclusion of this one specific option. So if you go to options and then gameplay and then difficulty tuning, there's this box that you can check, and it's for guaranteed assassinations. Now what this means is that no matter how many health segments, as long as you're unseen and you get the assassination prompt, you're going to be able to assassinate the target. So this basically bypasses everything that the build offers to you and gives you that free assassination, basically, or guaranteed assassination, if you will. And that gives you, I mean, in a way it's cool because it gives you, especially if you're low level, it gives you it gives you a way to go into high level areas and still be able to kill enemies that you wouldn't be able to otherwise because you're just too low level. You know, if you're 3, 4, 5 levels below any enemy, you're gonna find it really difficult to do any damage to them. So this is a good way to get that done still, so you can still go into those high level areas. But it does unfortunately have the unintended, I guess, consequence that a build like this is somewhat rendered obsolete because you can just click this one option and then not have to worry about getting all these items together. But if you enjoy build crafting like I do, then this is probably going to be fun for you. But let's go and take a look real quick at all the pieces of this puzzle. And this is going to be a quick one because, like I said, you know, there's really not much, there's not a lot to explain for this one. We're just going for max assassination damage. So our Tanto that we're going with is my primary weapon. If you have seen my videos, you've seen that I love the Tanto. So I usually go with that as my primary. And I'm using Masamune's Thorn, which gives us +2 health segment removed with double assassinate. And then I put on the engraving from the Warrior's Garden, I think it's called, which is an early game item. Let's see. Yeah, the Warrior's Garden, which this one gives you +2 health segments removed when you use Shadow Piercer. So that's the Tanto. Then we're going with the Kusarigama as opposed to the Katana. Usually I go for Katana as my secondary because I'm able to parry unblockables. But here, the Kusarigama gives us access to more health segment removal. So that's why we're going with this. +2 health segments removed on Rush Assassinate, and that's from a different Kusarigama, but the one we're using is the Cane Kusarigama, which gives us plus 135% damage when surrounded by 2 or more enemies, which is usually the case. And this is in case we need to engage in melee combat. If we get this covered and then there's no easy way to get out of a, you know, engaging enemies before you go, you can go back, before you can go back into stealth, then it's a pretty good option because of the damage boost. It's pretty significant. And also that's why we're going with the Masakato's Vengeance as our secondary engraving for the trinket, because it does give us that plus 1% damage per unspent mastery point. And we're currently sitting at 200, which gives us the full bonus for this trinket. Now, let's see. The engraving for the Rush Assassinate comes from the Demon Tooth, which is, again, an early game item that you can get your hands on pretty much right after you start the game. Then this one I got from the rewards that you get for doing the projects. This is part of the Legacy project, I believe, or the Awakening. I can't remember, but it's one of the projects if you want to go and take a look. And it's the Cerulean Guy's Hood. This gives us the engraving that comes with undetectable when dodging out of a stalking zone. And this is pretty accurate to what the description reads. Basically, as long as you manage to leave an enemy's line of sight and be hidden again, and then when you come out, you're going to be undetected again, and you're going to be able to get that assassination prompt. So you're not invisible, but you go back to being undetected as long as you break line of sight with the enemies. So that we also we added the +2 health segments removed on Assassinations and Shadows. And this one comes from a pretty early game item, which is the Yurei-Walker hood. And this one comes from a legendary chest in a castle, I'm pretty sure. Then this is the end game item, which gives us +2 health segments removed on Assassinations from the Master Assassin gear, which you get after you beat the game. Then we put the +2 health segments removed on Air Assassinate. And that one, again, is from another early game item, which is the Swift Shinobi robes. And then finally, we go with the Cerulean Puzzle Trinket, which gives us +2 health segments removed on running Assassinations. And that completes our gear. Now, if we look at the skills that we're using, we're not using a katana. So we're not going to worry about any of the global bonuses here. So everything that's on the left of each skill tree, we're not going to worry about those, because those are for optimizing different types of melee damage or affliction or stuff like that. And here we're focusing on assassination damage. We're doing purely assassinations. So we're not using anything from the katana. We're not using a katana. I like entanglement personally. You could go with any of the abilities or this passive over here as well. But entanglement is a pretty solid passive in case you need to engage in melee. And then I just did the multi-target expert because I had the points for it. But you can use whatever you have, allocate those points as you prefer. And again, these two I just kept because I have the points. So I couldn't find anywhere else that was better to use them. But Leap Strike and Escape Strike are staples for me, so they always they stay on no matter what. Then we're going with the Hidden Hand, which gives us an opportunity to fully unlocked, can be blocked or parried, and it gives us an opportunity to do an assassination in the middle of combat, so you don't have to do it from stealth, which is pretty, comes in handy. Then the same for Shadow Piercer, fully unlocked. We basically get to remove 2 health segments with that engraving from the Warrior's Garden. And then Backstab, because it's, can be useful sometimes. From the tools skill tree, we're going with basically everything that I had points for. So maximum amount of tools that you can carry. And then the Shinobi Bell, because I had the points for it. The Smoke, fully unlocked. And then the Armor Piercing for Kunai, even though I don't really use it for that reason. More important is the Kunai Assassination Damage, which we're currently at 4 health segments. And that can be also increased to 5 with the, if you have the engraving that you can put on your hood that gives you +1 assassination health segment removal with the Kunai Assassination. And then the shuriken, I always have fully unlocked for the ricochet and the ability to throw 3 and just only spend 1 quick throw, always for ease of use. Then from the shinobi skill tree, we have this. Everything that I have here is basically just personal preference. The one that's going to be important is heightened senses, and this one is actually pretty broken. You know, you can reactivate, fully unlocked, you can reactivate it after assassinating, so it comes in handy. It's very, very powerful. And then from the assassin skill tree, we're going with maximum adrenaline chunks, double assassinate. This is where you unlock the rush assassinate for assassinations from ranged with the Kusarigama. And then all the assassination damage that I can get access to, which currently we are at 5 health segments removed from the skills that we've unlocked. And then this reinforced blade and hand of the creed, so that you can use the hidden hand or hidden blade on larger enemies, and then also so that elites and larger enemies don't block your assassination if they see you coming, which those are the only ones that are able to do that, because smaller enemies still can't stop you if they see you coming. And that's it. That's it for the skills and everything. Now let's just go and take a quick look at how everything stacks. So we are at 4 assassination damage with kunai, or 5 assassination damage, you know, with regular assassinations. So that, with this engraving, it puts us at 7. So 5, and then the 2 from the stealth from the master assassin gear. So that's 7. Now, if those, if you can stack these depending on the case, right? So if you're at 7, and then if you're using the Kusarigama, that goes up to 9. You can do 9 assassination damage with the Kusarigama. Or if it's a running assassination, it can also be 9. If it's a double running assassination, that can go up to 11, which, you know, only bosses go up to like 8, 10, and 12. I don't think I've seen anything more than 12 health segments for any enemy in the game, but I could be wrong. But just from my memory of bosses, the most that I ever counted was 12. So this puts you right below that. If you were, for somehow, you know, there's some bosses I think that you can actually sneak up on and try to assassinate, but most of them are going to be 10, and there's only a few that are 12 if you're able to do that somehow. But yeah, or if it's assassinations in the shadows, that could also go. If it's, you know, 7, then could go to 9. If it happens to be assassinations from air, then that could go up to 11. If it's a double running assassination, can also go up to 11, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that is the build. I hope you guys found this useful, and I'll catch you on the next one.